Takwisheki, a place of power and beauty. A silent reminder to Native nations that we must submit to the land and listen to her heartbeat. We are the land is us. If the earth is out of balance, then we are out of balance. For millennia, Native nations have resiliently restored the land through spiritual practices that communicate with the land. We will continue to do this until the land no longer exists. William Madrigal Jr. My name is William Madrigal Jr. and I'm Kuya Lusenyo. I am the Tribal Partnerships and Capacity Manager for the Climate Science Alliance. And I'd like to talk to you about the tribal work group that we have here at CSA. But I wanted to first show you Takwisheki, which is a living monument to the Kuya people located in the heart of Kuya homelands in Riverside County. And it's a place that I frequented while I was a child and still do, because it's a place of power, it's a place of reflection, it's a place of beauty, and it's a living entity and it's a living place. And so in our Kuya traditions, you know, we frequent these areas, we understand their existence through stories and songs, and for our bird songs that are tell the story of our creation. Places like Takwisheki and surrounding areas and monuments are to be respected and to be protected at all costs. And I know that this is a very important place to my colleague Amber. She grew up there and she has also a connection with it that she'd like to share with you today.
Thank you so much, Will, and hello everyone. My name is Amber Pairis and I lead the Climate Science Alliance. I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to be part of this summit and to thank ITEP and the summit planners the conference planners for giving us this space to come together, even if it's virtually. These gatherings are really important for us to share information and to connect with each other. And it's fitting that we open up our presentation with this picture of Takwisheki. The house I grew up in since the age of 4, and the place where my family still lives, lies below and in the shadow of Takwisheki. And when I think of home, when I think about where I come from and what's important to me, I see this image in my head. And this place, this monument, it's special to me, and I'll always hold it in my heart. It was almost a year ago, maybe over a year ago, when we were starting to work on creating the Southwest Tribal Climate Summit that I met Will. We immediately made a connection because we had these shared stories of Takwisheki. This connection, these shared stories, they laid the groundwork for our relationship as colleagues and as friends. These stories that connect us are incredibly powerful, and that is the theme we want to carry into our presentation today about our work with the Climate Science Alliance Tribal Work Group. Achima. Will, did I say that right?
Achima, you got it, Achima.
In order to help set the stage for this presentation and the foundation for how our tribal work group came together, it's important to understand who we are as an organization. When I created the Climate Science Alliance in 2015, I was driven by the need to create a space where people could come together. A space for researchers, managers, NGOs, foundations, artists, educators, community members. It was a place where we could all come together to look at how we collaborate to advance resilience on a regional scale. Since 2015, we have grown significantly, and that Climate Science Alliance has been built on the enormous dedication and passion of over 360 agencies and organizations. Our staff and our partners come together to share skills, expertise, and knowledge in order to really work on bridging that gap between research and application. Through these strong relationships, we're able to translate and disseminate information and create strategies and actions that are rooted in community needs. Our portfolio is vast, And even though we are based in San Diego and the heart of our work starts there, we have programs and projects around North America and Mexico. Currently, our portfolio of projects focus on terrestrial and coastal ecosystems, on tribal resilience, Baja resilience, and capacity building, convenings, and trainings that advance natural resource conservation, restoration, and climate adaptation. When you work on a topic like climate change, it's very easy to get bogged down in the gloom and doom. But the most important thing we found is that by coming together, we inspire each other. By coming together, we find hope. In our Southwest Tribal Climate Change Summit in 2019, Anne-Marie Chischilly said it beautifully. We've all heard about climate change. We're here today to talk about climate hope. Across the region, tribes are working to prepare for and minimize the risks associated with extreme events and changing conditions. There is an overall lack of resources to coordinate and collaborate on climate change, and because tribes in our region are not part of state, county, or city jurisdictions, their needs are often not included in existing local plans. In 2017, after helping to support the convening of the first Southwestern Climate Tribal Summit, tribal members requested that the Climate Science Alliance support the creation and staffing of a tribal work group. In response, our tribal work group was created and convenes bi-monthly with 30 members representing 20 tribes and tribal organizations across the south coast of California, with a specific focus on San Diego, Riverside, and Santa Barbara County. The tribal work group's shared vision is to safeguard the lands and cultures of Southern California's Indian tribes from the threat of climate change. The tribal work group provides an opportunity to bring a diverse and interdisciplinary group to support the identification of risks and solutions to address shared priorities. By leveraging the tribal work group, we can coordinate resilience activities across the region to have a broader impact and increase opportunities for collaboration with other planning efforts. In addition, we can help support those tribes that don't have the capacity or opportunity to take on resilience planning. Over time, the tribal work group continues to grow and is becoming a unique Indigenous-led collaborative group representing multiple tribal perspectives. We emphasize equal valuation of knowledge, tribal and Western science, experience, perspectives, and a place that is for tribes but provides space for non-tribal partners to contribute and share. Through the tribal work group, we are coordinating and initiating activities across the region to have that broader impact. In 2018, the tribal work group convened and identified 5 priority strategic areas to focus their collaborative efforts. These included climate change impacts and solutions to address food security, invasive species, water, particularly drought and flooding, cultural resilience, and education and outreach. As we gain traction on these intertribal efforts that had been focused on these 5 priority topic areas, we began hosting meetings with partners who have expertise on these topics. We hosted field trips to learn from and see how others were approaching these strategies, and then recently submitted 2 large-scale intertribal projects for grant funding. One area we've been particularly successful in our work is with youth in the community. The tribal work group took on the responsibility of helping to craft a Climate Kids program specifically for tribes. We not only created programming and curriculum for tribal youth, but we've also integrated tribal perspectives, language, and stories into the broader Climate Kids program for all youth to benefit. We've expanded our Climate Kids Mexico program to include Indigenous communities that lie south of the border, and created traveling trunks so that resources can be shared and used locally. The work group itself is starting to be seen and recognized as a place where non-tribal partners can come to initiate partnerships, seek input, or invite participation. And we see this providing new pathways for connecting regional scale projects that had previously omitted tribal lands and tribal partners from their perspective and their analysis. As we gain traction on our intertribal efforts, we are also thinking about the future sustainability of this group. We have shared long-term goals, and we are having deep discussions about how we sustain and advance these collaborative efforts. We recognize that there are challenges and are trying to get creative with our solutions. In particular, we want to successfully fund these large-scale intertribal projects and try to break away from the competitive nature of small grants that often build up a sense of competition instead of cooperation. We are looking to advance pilot projects and make sure that resources are going back into the community and helping to build internal capacity. We want to continue to build our own capacity and support for our individual partners and make sure that our members continue to engage and see value in this partnership. And most important, we want all of our projects to be visioned by, led by, and implemented by the tribes. And this is not a statement that's limited to the tribal work group, but also extends itself to the portfolio of the Alliance's projects more broadly. We see this tribal work group as a demonstration of how to change the paradigm of climate change adaptation planning and break out of the sectors to take a more holistic approach to climate resilience efforts. We share these ideas with you in hopes that they are helpful when thinking of your own collaborative work. Funding is and probably always will be a major concern, especially when we are seeking ways to bring in funds for large-scale efforts in which multiple partners will benefit. We also realize that we need to find synergy between the timelines of Western science and grants that don't match the pace of how things are done, or the time and effort involved in building lasting partnerships that will ensure that these projects are successful. As I look ahead and imagine where we could go together, I'm filled with hope. This tribal work group has demonstrated to me and so many other partners around our region the power of collaboration, the power of respecting and valuing the unique knowledge that each person holds, the power of coming together in the spirit of partnership and trust to advance activities that protect our planet and all its people. I am excited to see where this path takes us and for the hard work ahead. With that, I'll turn it over to Will to share more on where we are headed.
We are the land. The land is us. A traditional Cahuilla bird song's lyrics directly conveys that the earth has two eyes and ears, and that we will be ever conscious and aware of our treatment of the land. So in looking ahead, CSA's Tribal Working Group, through partnerships with Southern California Native Nations, has set itself up to allow traditional ecological knowledge and practices take the lead in designing and implementing current and future projects. An important way of moving forward collaboratively is to access current resources and literature generated by Native elders and leaders. Take, for example, this excerpt from Cahuilla Luiseño Resource Manager, Dr. Anthony Madrigal. Native tradition looks to the primacy of direct experience, interconnectedness, relationship, and reciprocity in the natural world. This direct participation with the natural world reveals to the Native people that all things are animate, possessing a spiritual power and a creative energy in a living, interrelated, and evolving universe. The Native understanding of the world imparts a proper way for the Indian people to interact with their environment. What is climate hope for Native nations? It's recognizing and reacting to what the land is saying to us. Through ceremony, song, and dance, our youth learn climate hope by learning and experiencing the resiliency of the land. When the youth participate in the bird songs and dances, they help bring back that balance to our universe. Dr. Anthony Madrigal reminds us of the critical importance of Native practitioners in addressing climate change disparities. The Native view of the world also gives rise to traditional land management practices in managing wildland resources
and tending native plants. The ability of native practitioners to sometimes communicate with the natural world, plants, and animals in an ecosystem to see what's out of place and not in balance. We must be investing in our native youth, connectivity, and leadership by honoring the epistemic guidance of native elders to ensure an indigenous futurity for the people and the land. Climate Science Alliance created a youth team challenge to teach leadership and connectivity climate strategies. Pictured here are students attending the 2019 Southwest Tribal Climate Summit. At the culmination of the challenge, students presented their climate stories and ideas to summit attendees. Moving forward, the Climate Science Alliance will support students in the implementation of their challenge plans. The Climate Science Alliance, through its work with the Tribal Working Group, has been able to bridge diverse backgrounds and cultural gaps to create a uniquely collaborative space where resiliency, restorative ideas for current and future climate disparity adaptation projects can be cultivated. Achakwinahilnishnan penpalawatamit. I would like to express gratitude in my Kauai language and thank you for listening to this presentation.